Afghanistan, a land of mountains, ancient history, and resilient people. Yet for many, it's a country misunderstood, often only seen through the lens of conflict. In this video, we'll explore the real Afghanistan, its history, population, environment, and what we can do to help the world understand it better. Afghanistan's history stretches back thousands of years. Long before modern borders were drawn, the region was part of great empires and civilizations. It was a crossroads for traders, scholars, and invaders. From the Achaemenid Empire under Darius the Great to Alexander the Great's conquests, Afghanistan has always stood at the center of history. As centuries passed, Afghanistan became a key part of the Silk Road. Caravans carrying silk, spices, and stories passed through its cities. It became a cultural melting pot, where Indian, Persian, Greek, and Central Asian influences merged. Empires like the Kushans brought Buddhism to the region, leaving behind breathtaking statues like those of Bamiyan. Later, Islamic empires took root. The Ghaznavids, Ghurids, and Mughals ruled over a land of rich culture and scholarship. Cities like Herat and Balkh flourished with art, architecture, and poetry. Afghanistan's scholars contributed to science, philosophy, and medicine, helping to shape the Islamic Golden Age. But history wasn't always peaceful. For centuries, Afghanistan has been invaded by foreign powers. It was a battleground during the Great Game, a geopolitical struggle between the British and Russian empires in the 19th century. The British tried multiple invasions, each met with fierce resistance. Afghans earned a reputation for being fiercely independent, determined to defend their homeland at all costs. In the 20th century, Afghanistan experienced both progress and turmoil. The early 1900s saw modernization under King Amanullah Khan, who introduced reforms, built infrastructure, and promoted education. But change was met with resistance. Internal divisions and conservative backlash slowed the pace of modernization. In 1973, the monarchy was abolished, and Afghanistan became a republic. Just a few years later, a communist coup changed the political landscape. This led to the Soviet invasion in 1979, a decade-long war that devastated the country and forced millions of Afghans to flee their homes. When the Soviets withdrew, a civil war erupted between Mujahideen factions. Amid the chaos, the Taliban emerged in the mid-1990s, promising order and Islamic law. They took control of most of the country by 1996, enforcing a strict interpretation of Sharia. Life under the Taliban was especially harsh for women who were barred from education and work. The 9/11 attacks in 2001 changed everything. The U.S. and its allies invaded Afghanistan, aiming to dismantle al-Qaeda and remove the Taliban from power. What followed was a 20-year conflict marked by both hope and hardship. There were efforts to build schools, hospitals, and democratic institutions, but also ongoing violence, corruption, and instability. In 2021, after the U.S. withdrawal, the Taliban returned to power. Once again, Afghanistan faces a complex future. Many Afghans, especially women and the educated youth, fear for their rights and freedoms. Yet, despite the uncertainty, the spirit of the Afghan people endures. Today, over 40 million people call Afghanistan home. It's a diverse population, including Pashtuns, Tajiks, Hazaras, Uzbeks, and many more. Each ethnic group brings its own languages, traditions, and cultural heritage. Afghanistan is a mosaic of identities, and that diversity is one of its greatest strengths. Despite decades of conflict, Afghan people are known for their hospitality, resilience, and strong sense of community. Family is the backbone of society. Whether in cities or remote villages, Afghans take pride in their traditions, cuisine, music, and crafts. From the intricate embroidery of Herat to the flavorful dishes of Kabul, culture is alive and thriving. Most of the population is under 25, a young generation with hopes for peace, education, and progress. Many young Afghans grew up with access to technology, social media, and global ideas. Even in challenging times, they continue to create art, share stories, and fight for a better future. Afghanistan's landscape is breathtaking. It's a country of dramatic contrasts: snow-capped mountains, green valleys, arid deserts, and ancient rivers. The Hindu Kush mountain range stretches across the country, offering both beauty and isolation. These natural barriers have historically protected Afghanistan, but they've also made communication and development more difficult. The environment is not just beautiful, it's vital to Afghan life. Agriculture is the main source of income for most families. Farmers grow wheat, fruits, nuts, and the world-renowned Afghan pomegranates and saffron. But this way of life is under threat. Afghanistan faces severe environmental challenges: deforestation,